So in previous part, what we have done, we already created one index.jsp, which is for the front end part, like this Java mail client, and we are importing some file here. So we are importing this page. And what is page import is basically I am just accessing this mail.mail client. Why I'm putting mail? Because the package is mail here, as you can see. This pom.xml, which is Maven property. I will tell you later what is this basically. If you know this is just basically the injection dependency thing, dependency injection I use here. So I use this as dependency part. So while I'm putting this, you can see I'm accessing this mail.client here, and I already wrote a program for this. So mail.client is nothing but it's accessing its data of JSP to this, and this is going to indexing, so it will take time while indexing. So what I have done, let me tell you first in previous thing with some short recap. So what I have done here is, it's very easy. I have done here. Okay. So these are the things I added in mail.client. I am creating here OP string, which is send basically. Then super keyword I used as a constructor here to mention this as the constructor of this. So you can minimize this as it is, and you can perform that actions. Sometimes indexing will take little bit of more time, but what you can do, you can just reload this from here, Maven dependencies, and it will take part of that indexing later. So in the building part also, it's going to sync this application, as you can see, with the cloud. So we created this message and everything, and it's going to dispatch, and I'm using here two methods. One is do post and one is do get. So this is it about how we perform in mail client. So this is just for accessing the data and everything. Then what is the more things I'm going to use here? Email dot this. So let me do one thing here. Let me go to the open recent, and what I'm going to do is, you can just reload this because sometimes it takes more time indexing. So you can hide the process briefly. So it will take time, but I know I can proceed with my further more indexing part, and I don't want to stop for this. So in this part, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more thing is email utility. So let me copy this. Okay, I copied this part. Now let me go to the mail client part, and what I'm going to do now is just clicking new Java class, pasting this email utility, hitting enter. So that's it, it's created for me, this part. So it will take time to indexing and doing everything here. Sometimes it takes more time than this, so we are not worried about that part. We will check it later. Let us start with coding part. So I already created this, but we are remaining with some final strings, which is basically SSL socket factory. We are going to, factory is just basically for factory resetting and doing everything part. So let me go to the download part, and let me go to the mention here, private. So let me mention one thing here is this. So I will tell you what is the significance of this. So SSL is just handling this. So I'm mentioning as this, but I will tell you later how it's going to work. It's not actually I'm putting as a comment here, and why I'm commenting this part is I will tell you later. This is just a SSL factory, I'm mentioning. So that's not required at all, but sometimes it gives more preferences for that. Let me create one private static. I needed properties. Props you can add, or you can add anything. So sometimes it takes time, like you can check here, background tasks are taking more time due to network issues and more things it takes, but we can good to go with this new properties. So these are the Java X properties. Then what I'm going to perform here is I'm going to create one static part. So if you know, instead putting main dot or we can say psvm is common thing here. I will type like public static void main. If I put psvm, okay, instead of doing this method, what I can do, I can just mention a static block, so it will execute for me static. I can create a static block in Java. Similarly, I created this. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to mention some here properties of my SMTP protocols. Properties.put first is mentioning the host, which is basically mail dot smtp dot host. So what is the host for me? Let me put here smtp, which is gmail port, smtp gmail.com. so this is my smtp port for gmail. Then what is the port? props.put mail.smtp ports. Next thing is I want to mention the port for my smtp. Remember, it's always int, so mention as int directly, no need to mention as its string. And I need to mention the authentication part. So why we need authentication? We need authentication always true. We don't want to stop it smtp port. So let me put like on, it is always true, so true true. So I am performing this true part here. Then we are remaining with start ttls, or we can say start tls. So what are these things? So let me mention here, these are the properties of smtp server. So I'm mentioning all the properties of smtp server, like mail.smtp.host is my gmail.com, port is 587, authentication is true. So why we need authentication? Likewise, you have Gmail account and you have a password we are going to mention here. So I want to mention that authentication is always true in this case. While sending a mail, its authentication is always true. So it will run loop inside this and it will give me the true authentication always. But what I needed before is I need to mention here one thing, mail.smtp dot start tls, time to live service, or we can say the enable. TLS is a very common thing in what we can say, any running program. If you have check through this, it's basically transport layer security, and we have to enable it always in this TRUE while using Gmail here. So now we are done with this. So let me check, indexing is now updating indexing. So sometimes it may take time, it's according to your network connection and my, so ignore this, let it be done throughout this project, and it will take 2-3 minutes, sometimes it takes more time also. So keep it as it is and go forward with your part. So what we have done is, let me tell you again, I'm mentioning the host as this, port as this, authentication true, and TLS, which is basically transport layer security, I want to enable. and mention it as a true part. So that's it, I had done here. So now what I'm going to mention is, I want to mention here one send mail message or send mail thing here. So for that purpose, method to send mail. So I put public static void. If you know why I'm mentioning void, it's not returning anything. So what is the returning? If you know the Java basics, if your method is returning something, reallocating or disallocating some memory, it should be int. So here it's not doing anything. Send mail is my method. I want to mention one parameter is email message, which is my thing, email message DTO. So this is another parameter I mentioned. So these are my parameters, not anything here I mentioned. So I want to now use try catch, or instead of using try catch, what I can do, I need to mention string sender mail. So what you are going to do is, here is your email. I'm mentioning like this because I don't want to do this. I will tell you later what your email @gmail.com, if you know this. Second is parameter is password, because for the authentication purpose I'm authenticating this and always true. But on which parameters I'm going to take? Your email address, which is basically username, and the password for the Gmail. Any SMTP server has given specific username and password for you. So similarly I'm mentioning this sender email pass. So I will mention as your email. So this is not my email password and it's not my email also. I will tell you later what I'm going to put here. So I'm mentioning as here authentication parameters. Okay, so these are the authentication parameters, which is basically sender email, which is basically username, and password is for the password basis. So I will tell you what I'm going to do here. Now let us consider, is this a very true thing I am going to do here? Like, it's a secure thing? No, not at all, because why I'm using here is it's public void. Anyone can check this as a security purpose. So I will tell you later what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use string handling and everything I'm going to do here, but I will tell you later. For simplicity I'm keeping like this. In further part I will change it to more complex thing, but let me make a connection with server first. Okay, so I need to create one session here. Session. So once this is indexing is done, the libraries will automatically added here and everything will be done. Session dot get default instances. This default instance, which is basically very common thing I'm going to do here, is props. I want to mention here props properties, and these props, wait a minute, let me put here props because it's goes props, which is basically properties, then new, okay, new java x dot mail, which is our library, mail dot authenticate or authenticator. So this is my instances where what is going to do, it's accessing these properties. As you can see, these props will be accessed because this is the static, these are the properties of SMTP server. It will put to this thing, which is basically my method object, or we can say classes object, and it will ask me through this new java mail authenticator Now this is the session, so I need to mention 2 3 things here, which is password protected thing and everything I'm going to mention. So in the further part, I will tell you how we can create a connection with the server, plus how we are going to handle this thing, because now it's currently very unsecure method. And let me tell you why this is unsecure, because this is public and I'm directly putting my password and email. So if anyone having some injecting in our program or server injection, they can find out this directly. So instead of this, what you can do is, I will tell you later, there are many lot of options you can do, but for this condition I'm going to use some more other simple options. If you are testing purpose, you can do this. And 2 3 things I want to mention here, but I will tell you in later regarding to the SMTP port and everything. Hope you understand. Thank you.